From luring someone back in after years to almost granting them their wish, here are the NBA blockbuster trades that almost happened. First is the almost trade of Charles Barkley to LA in 1992. I'm just going to let Chuck paint the picture here, because who's better at telling his own stories than him? He says he got the call from his agent one morning, and he said Philly has traded him to the Lakers. So he went to lunch and started drinking. He was that excited to go to the Lakers. Then 3 hours later, he got another phone call where his agent said the Sixers backed out of the deal, and he started feeling pretty good about it and went to play that night. Apparently, the deal was for Ron Anderson and Barkley for James Worthy and Eldon Campbell. Instead, Barkley was later traded to Phoenix. Then the Sir Charles-led Suns went on to make the 1993 NBA Finals, which was the same year that he was named MVP. Meanwhile, the Lakers didn't win a single playoff. So had the deal happened, all that success could have been the Lakers. Too bad for them that it didn't work out. Another deal that didn't happen. It was Scottie Pippen to Seattle in 1994. After trading Pippen for Olden Polynice on draft night in 1987, the Sonics almost lured the player back 7 years later. The proposed trade was discussed during Jordan's first retirement and had epic future effects. The biggest one was if Chicago shipped Pippen out of town, MJ might have never returned for his second three-peat with the Bulls. And that's exactly what he said at All-Star Weekend in 2018. He was chased for an interview, and the person succeeded. Quite an impressive feat, considering chasing Jordan for interviews usually proves as fruitful as chasing Bigfoot. We might find Bigfoot one day, but not Michael Jordan's desire to get interviewed. Anyway, he said that he could have played with Sean, but he wouldn't have been as comfortable as he was with Scottie. Did we even expect any other reply? And it's pretty wild to think Chicago winning 6 championships hinged on Seattle whiffing on Pippen twice. There's another wild trade that almost happened. This time, it's Tracy McGrady to Philadelphia in 1999. Not only did the Raptors consider swapping McGrady for Larry Hughes, but they were going to gift the Sixers a first-rounder for their troubles too. This would have been quite a feat for then Philly GM Billy King. He was famous for being a truly awful executive, a legacy that he sealed by shipping a creaky Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce to Brooklyn, which was in exchange for a package that included the Nets' future hopes and dreams.
Well, I think it helped give us a little bit of an identity. I think their leadership and what they were able to bring to our guys, I think our guys are better for it. Did we get to our goal of winning championship? No, but I think we were able to go further than we had gone. But I think when we made that...
The difference between Hughes and McGrady couldn't be seen, back then at least. But even then, T-Mac was showing flashes of becoming something special. While McGrady went on to become an NBA legend, Hughes' name is only mentioned once, when someone is trying to show just how bad LeBron James' 2007 Cavs were. One more deal that almost happened will have you shook. This one involved Kobe Bryant going to Detroit in 2007, and he confirmed it himself. This deal was legit, no nonsense, and it was dangerously close to getting over the line in 2007. Both teams even agreed to it in principle and were ready to make it happen. The only problem was that Kobe had a no-trade clause, the only player in the league with one at the time, and Detroit wasn't high on his wish list. Do I blame him? Heck no! Even the legendary Lakers owner Jerry Buss convinced Bryant that LA was still the place to be. Had Kobe signed off on that trade, he would have formed a new big three with Chauncey and Wallace. These two guys were the main guys who upset his Shaq Payton Malone Lakers in the 2004 finals. The Lakers, had this deal happened, would have gotten a big team of their own. It's also possible Kobe might have never won a championship after the initial three-peat with Shaq, and the whole conversation on surrounding his legacy would have been different. He wouldn't be the same Kobe that we all remember now. But Detroit wasn't the only team he was about to go to. He almost joined Chicago in 2007. Detroit might not have been his preferred destination at the time, but Chicago certainly was. And the Lakers almost granted him that wish too. It was reported at the time that the Lakers demanded Deng, Thomas, Gordon, and Noah. These were all contenders to make one team, the All-NBA players who did not age well team. But Kobe insisted Deng remain in Chicago, and with the two sides unable to agree on the specifics of the deal, it ultimately fell apart altogether. One more deal that almost happened was Chris Paul going off to LA in 2011. As controversial as David Stern vetoing this trade was, it was unquestionably
a lockout has a very large impact on a lot of people, many of whom, or most of whom, are not associated with either side. They're the other employees of the teams.
The right move for New Orleans. Instead of landing a package for okay players, destined to turn them into an uninspiring 8 seed, the deal they took instead allowed them to become bad enough to land the #1 pick, which became Anthony Davis. Of course, history eventually repeated itself. Just like Paul, Davis attempted to force his way to the Lakers. And just like Paul, Davis had that deal shut down on him. Had New Orleans met Paul's demands, we'd be looking at a completely different league. Imagine, just one choice changed the entire game. For starters, Houston wouldn't have had the assets to make the James Harden trade because Powell wouldn't have been on the books. Harden would have stayed in OKC and might have won a title there. And Kobe, CP, Dwight, Big Three could have been a reality. Davis would have likely landed in Charlotte or Washington, and Lob City never would have happened. Geez, the next year one more deal almost happened, and that was James Harden going off to Golden State. Things weren't good between the Thunder manager Sam Presti and Harden, and when he made the controversial decision to shop Harden for financial purposes, the Warriors were his first call.
But no one knew exactly what was going to happen. There was a lot of hard work in front of them, and this is kind of the starting point of their careers, and it's really exciting to be able to share this with every one of them.
According to Bill Simmons, but the trade never went anywhere. Golden State was trying to dump players OKC didn't want, and OKC wanted picks Golden State didn't have. But imagine if the trade had happened. Harden wouldn't have received his chance to be the #1 guy, at least not for another year or two. If it ever happened, the Warriors might never have become a true dynasty without their fitting pieces. Another team could have won the title in 2015, 2017, and 2018. LeBron could have snatched one or two of these titles to move closer to MJ, and Klay Thompson might not have won any rings at all. In fact, another player also almost went off to Golden State in 2014. I'm talking about Kevin Love. According to all the reports, the Warriors thought long and hard about this one. This was going to be an interesting deal, and they needed to think it through. The idea of Golden State making this trade might seem insane now, but at the time, the Splash Brothers hadn't completely established themselves. The league hadn't fully realized its three-point shooting obsession, and Kevin Love was an all-encompassing monster, averaging 26 and 12. This could have changed the whole game had it happened, but Jerry West put a stop to trade talks, and he threatened to resign from his advising role with the Warriors if they went ahead with the deal. 5 years and 3 championships later, he'd still be smiling to himself if he wasn't now with the Clippers. Well, that's it from my side for now. Which NBA blockbuster almost trade was the most interesting for you? See you in the next video.